Are you at the point in your life where you're creating stealth wealth? What exactly is it? When you think of the term quiet millionaire, this is a person who really shuns the lifestyle, doesn't brag about the 7 figure, 8 figure, 9 figure retirement accounts that they have. It's not the individual that is driving the Porsche up to his neck in car payments with debt coming out of his nose. It's the person driving the 2012 Honda Civic, fully paid off, squirreling away money because they know and they've been investing for decades. One of the problems that I see is when it comes to people in debt, the more that you make, for a lot of people, the more they are spending. When you start thinking of earners that are north of $100,000, 54% of those individuals are living paycheck to paycheck. That is the problem that we're going to be dealing with today. And also identifying some of those whispering wealth in America or those stealth millionaires that we see. Now, there's an interesting book, and they quote the Wealthy Barber in here about a barber that gives financial advice, giving haircuts, giving out personal financial advice. A lot of people don't take it. Some people take it with a grain of salt, but some people really do take it to heart. That is the people who are these wealthy millionaires. So when we start thinking of some of the traits that they possess, there are 5 of them specifically that we're going to be looking at. The first one we look at, they are financially literate. That's right. When you think of high school, even going back to the very basics, you learn about calculus. It is trigonometry, all this stuff. However, financial literacy is not taught, and a majority of states do not have financial literacy at all. This means that it is up to you and I to educate these individuals, knowing not only the dangers of debt, but the power of compounding interest, how the market works, looking at the S&P 500, and not overhyping investments that really don't follow a very tried and true basic fundamental when it comes to investing. Now, when you think of the S&P 500, we've talked about the VOO. Even looking at this, it is an annual return north of 10% over the last 20 years, which is kind of crazy. Now, the second one we look at, they live frugal but dress modestly. Now, this is kind of interesting. Valued by Forbes at $140 billion at this time, Warren Buffett could wine and dine, could buy literally pretty much anything that he wanted. However, he doesn't. He clips coupons. He goes to McDonald's. It's kind of crazy to think that, even people that have the money, when you get the mindset, when you get the education, you know the value of a dollar. Every single dollar that you're spending one place cannot be spent at another place. It is taking away from savings, taking away from investing. This, of course, is why, going back to the quiet millionaires, why they are very wealthy. They are penny pinching. They're paying attention to their finances. If they have a way to save money, they're going to do exactly that. It's not buying the $10,000 suits. It's about not following the fashion trends, keeping up with the Joneses, also known as lifestyle creep, knowing the luxuries and really enjoying life versus enjoying stuff. That is one of the biggest things. When I started doing a lot of research when it came to really being frugal and frugality in its entirety, it is about making things and buying things that are of value versus buying a bunch of things that really don't have the value or don't have the quality that you're looking for. Now, number 3, they don't talk about their wealth. This is kind of crazy. When you think about the quiet millionaires, quiet is literally the meaning when we look at the subject, which of course, when you start thinking of wealth, they don't have a lot of conversations about how wealthy they are. They're more like I am in the educational piece of, even though we do have wealth, how do we really translate that into the younger generation? I deal with individuals with financial counseling, 18, 20, 25, 30, even mid 40s. But when you start looking and breaking down their fundamentals down to the nuts and bolts of what's coming in, what's going out, what's they're spending, it is really eye-opening when you start breaking it down to really what exactly is going on with their financial picture. And also, it creates a very, very strong sense of accountability when you're talking to individuals really about that. Now, of course, number 4 in this list, they pay for outside counsel. This is one of the biggest things. And I know the Ramsey show, George Kamel, which I love to follow. I love him. Honestly, truth be told, I watch him a lot more than I watch Dave Ramsey. But quiet millionaires are not really financial junkies. When it comes to watching the news, they get it from better sources. This is financial advisors. This is proven records. And when I think of myself personally, it is about hiring and not doing my own taxes, not having counsel with financial advisors, having a lot of people in my corner that know a lot more and can work with me, can educate me. Really, when you look at the cost, I pay my CPA about $100. For a majority of individuals going through TurboTax, going through a bunch of other avenues, they are doing the exact same thing or very similar. However, they don't have the person for the education. They don't have the person for the advice because essentially it's an AI chatbot or it's someone that you're chatting with on the other end. And the last one we look at, they do not overextend themselves for money. This is one of the biggest things when it comes to quiet millionaires is knowing that the pursuit of wealth is really the less you have that you have to get with everything else. This is really a big trend that we're seeing in the United States and really worldwide is the hustle culture. This is the place where you have a job, you're working 9 to 5, you're putting in extra hours, you have a side gig. 54% of Americans have a side hustle at some point. So yet the crushing workload demand, we know a lot of people have gotten laid off, means there is no downtime or you really have to go in for personal time. It is family time, making sure that you're engaging in your hobbies. And of course, it's kind of crazy when you think about the wealth accumulation because we've talked about this before when it comes to 3 buckets. Number 1, you have your income. If you can build that bucket bigger, if you can make it higher, if you can do a side hustle, if you can go ahead and work more than the other individual, you are going to get ahead. If it's not today, tomorrow, it is going to be a matter of time, which is exactly what we're doing here on YouTube. If you like the content that I'm putting out, definitely subscribe to the channel. But having a hobby like this in the education space and also the financial space, I knew it was going to be incredibly difficult to really do it, but I am in it for the long haul with this. Now, of course, when you think about those quiet millionaires and really understanding the whispering wealth in America, which again is kind of interesting. Let me know how many of these 5 things that you really do exhibit. Me personally running down this list, number 1, financially literate. This is huge. This is something I educate myself on an absolute daily basis when it comes to financial news, when it comes to really staying on top of everything, understanding compounding interest, even going as far as cryptocurrency, spending a ton of time and effort into understanding exactly how it works, the ins and outs, knowing what is in what funds really to drive in a 3-fund ETF portfolio, living frugal, dress moderately. This is exactly what I do in the professional world when it comes to the investment side, when it comes to the financial industry, definitely putting a little bit more money into the clothes, knowing they're going to last and knowing that they are going to be there. I'm not wearing suits, ties, all of that. And of course, talking about the wealth. For me personally, like I said, it is about the education aspect that I like to share, how to save money. A lot of people, and it's interesting because when you think big picture, I can put out a video about how to get a side hustle, how to generate more income. We'll see a lot of people watch it. On the flip side, if I talk about, consolidating, budgeting, saving money on the other side, in that really first bucket of income, people don't want to hear it at all. There's nobody that wants to do without. There's nobody that wants to cut back on the liability, on the payments. They want to make more money, work harder, spend more time working to cover what they already have, which unfortunately is kind of counterintuitive. And then of course, paying for outside counsel, I absolutely recommend. And I do not overextend myself for money at all. We have a big bucket that we do invest on a regular basis, meaning that we know the compounding interest and we know the effect. When it comes to our kids and generational wealth, it is absolutely going to be there. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know which of these 5 you really do have with the whispering wealth of quiet millionaires in America, and I'll catch you in the next video.